Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Prescribing Lifestyle Podcast. Today, I have a very special guest for you. She is Philippa Gleeson-Payne. She is a health and wellness coach and mentor, and she leads mothers through the tough years of teenagers. So this really resonated with me because I am going through teenage years with my kids. My boys are 13 and 16, and some days they're amazing, some days they're terrible, and I want to kill them. So I happened to connect with Philippa maybe last week when my 13-year-old was terrible. So I reached out for her to get her to come into the podcast to share some of her tips. So welcome, Philippa. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Very, very pleased to come here and connect and chat.
Thank you. I'll get you to introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about your journey and what made you become a teenage parenting coach.
Absolutely. Look, it's been an interesting journey, actually. I've a parent myself of four children. They're now 14 through to 25. So we're out of those little ages. We're still in the teen years, but we're getting to that point where we've done it a few times and we know that the those years are coming to an end, which is sort of a little bit sad, actually. But even those trying years, which they all are, like every single one of them. Previous to that, I have been a health and wellness coach. I've been mentoring, coaching, and inspiring women across the globe for probably uh, close on nearly 2 decades, I would say.
Amazing. Mm,
Across the globe, we've lived in Singapore, America, and Australia during that time.
great.
And some of that has been through our homeschooling journey. We homeschooled for 15 years.
Mm,
And I guess the point of me moving specifically into working with families, not just people with health and wellness generally, but moving into teenage years, sort of came after we went through a very difficult time ourselves. And it was a
mm,
difficult time that really changed our trajectory and
mhm,
changed our family forever. So
mm.
in 2017, our son had a playground accident. And as a result of that playground accident, he was rushed to hospital and he had a subdural hematoma. So as a doctor, you would
God,
know that
yes.
that's quite severe.
It's a
So he had a
bleeding the
bleed.
brain, in other words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a bleed on his brain, and it was a closed head injury. So, for those who aren't aware, there was no break in his skull. So the damage, the swelling, and everything was happening inside his brain. That happened as he fell in the playground,
How old was he then?
and he was 12 years old,
Okay.
and he was unconscious immediately. But his two younger sisters, who were 6 and 10 at the time, watched it all.
Oh my God.
And by the time I ran across the playground, he was in a pretty bad way. So he had started to sort of come to, but he was seizuring and he was posturing and he was making noises that weren't like speech. They were animalish noises.
Oh my
So
God.
it was very clear he was in a bad way. So that was quite traumatic for us all. And he was not expected to survive that day.
Mm.
He did. And he was in a coma, kept in a coma. And then when he came out, he had amnesia and he had to learn to do basic things again. So previous to that, we'd been having a great life, right? We were like ticking all the boxes that you tick as a family.
Mhm.
So homeschooling, we loved it. Our kids were all in either sports or dance, art, drama, you name it. They were
Mhm.
extremely vibrant children who had phenomenal lives as we traveled around the globe.
Mhm.
And it all just ended just really, really, really suddenly. So that
Mhm.
led to that one event changed everything.
Mhm.
Not only did it change his future,
Mhm.
and I'll share a bit more about that and the
Mm-hmm.
recovery in a minute. But not
Yeah.
only did it change him, but it also changed the girls,
Yeah.
and it also changed us, myself and my husband.
Yeah, of course. I can't
So
even imagine. I'm having shivers
yeah,
down my spine.
yeah. So when you're dealing with all of you changing,
Mm,
you can't expect, like, you're in survival mode,
yeah.
and you're ecstatic, right? One minute is you're celebrating the fact that he woke up. You're celebrating the fact that he can speak. You're celebrating the fact that, oh my gosh, he sat, look, he was awake for an hour today. You celebrate the fact that he can sit up now in a wheelchair, right?
Mm,
Or he fed himself, or you
mm,
celebrate all these things, and you get on this rehabilitation process whereby you're constantly thinking, oh, he's coming back, he's coming back.
yeah.
So all of us are doing this. It's like, oh my gosh, that was just like him, right? When he was saying that, that was just like the old him.
Yes.
So everyone, it was, and people around you do that too, right?
Yeah.
Everyone around you just wants to say the good stuff. So they're like, oh
Mm,
my gosh, you must be really so
mm,
relieved. And they don't
mm,
see the undercurrents of what's going on that we don't even know ourselves yet. And you'll just happily push forward with this exciting progress. And it's sort of with the goal of rehabilitating him back to normal,
yes.
right? So fast forward, because there's obviously a very big story,
Yeah.
there came a point where he had gone through a lot of rehabilitation stuff. There came a point at which it was very obvious to me that he was never going to be the same person again.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And that specific day, I remember it when I suddenly thought, I have to let him go. And that specific day was the day that I watched him with so this was a year later, he would have been coming up to 14 by then, and his little sister would have been coming up to 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching him with her, and there was this, I won't say connection because he had lost the ability to do that at that stage, very much so. But there was something, he was finding joy in her and having this fun. And there was this light in his face.
Mm,
And then the moment he struggled with something and I tried to make him feel better, I'm like, don't worry, you'll be able to do that again one day, right?
mm,
You have to give it time. Things will come back to normal. You
mm,
you used to be able to do this. You'll be able to do it again.
mm,
He shut
mm,
down, and I realized he does this all the time. As soon as I'm speaking with him, he just shuts down.
mm,
And watching her, it occurred to me, it's because she's the only one that doesn't really hold any expectations of him being anything other than who he is
mm,
right now.
mm,
It was really interesting because she had actually said when she was only 6, and she'd said at one point, one day I'm going to forget the old Toby. One day this one's going to be the only one I remember. And I said, yeah. And in my heart, I'm thinking, I wish that was the case with me and the
mm.
others, but we still were older and we had these memories that were very strong, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I thought that's what's holding us back. It's holding him back. It's holding us
Yeah.
back from enjoying him and from him enjoying us.
Yeah.
And it was the turning point, right? I'm like, she doesn't have that expectation of him. She's
Mm,
just seeing him now,
mm-hmm.
liking him now, engaging with him now, and it was
Yeah.
magical. So
Mm,
I sat down and I said to him, he was, as I said, a teenager at the time, and I just said to him, you know what I've realized? I realized that the times that I have these conversations with you, it must come across like I like the old version of you more than I like you.
yeah.
And
Okay.
I was teary and crying, and he wasn't,
Mm,
because he really didn't have, he had damaged the front right cortex, and so he
yeah.
didn't respond to things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what, though? You need to realize that I do remember a different version of you, and I
Mm,
miss it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to see it. For me, I need to see it that I've lost the old version of you.
yeah.
And for me, it's like I had twins, and that one of you died in that
Mm-hmm.
accident,
Mm,
and one of you survived and had to recover.
mm,
So I'm never going to expect you
mm-hmm.
to be the old version of yourself again.
Yeah.
I love you just as you are. You are totally valid, and you don't need fulfill
Mm.
any of my needs for missing who he is. And I will miss him at one time. If there really was twins, I would miss your brother,
Mm.
but I would still love you. And honestly, it changed everything. It changed
Wow.
everything.
Hmm.
This is with Toby. Of course, there's stories with all the others. And
Yes.
his accident went on to cause all sorts of traumas and stuff in the other children, which went on to for me to let go of old versions of them. And they had to learn, I had to let go of an old version of myself as a mother.
Okay.
Because suddenly I felt this heaviness, right? And everywhere I turned, I was fearful. I had fear 24/7. I was so unregulated in my
Mm.
nervous system, but I didn't know it because I was just keeping up constantly, right?
Mm.
I had
Mm.
kids to provide for. I was sort of pretending to be wanting to be with the younger ones
Mm.
because I knew they needed it.
Yes, you're
But
probably
I was
conscious.
my mind was on the
Yes.
worries of the older ones. So I
Yes.
wasn't
Mm.
even really with them properly. I was sort of like there, but not really present. And it just made way for this beautiful transition into just realizing, not just with him with an accident, but every one of my children needed me to meet them in that day as well. And surrounding me and wandering out in the world, I then started noticing that generally all the worries and everything and all these concerns with all these people around me about kids that want to quit dance, but it's, parents don't want them to quit dance because, hey, they've put so much effort, it would be a waste to throw it away. It would, all these words, and it just kept coming back and coming back and coming back. And it felt so different to me. I'm like, you're wasting and throwing away something so much more important than whether or not they danced for 7 years. That dance for 7 years has given them amazing stuff, but they don't want to do it anymore.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, and it just changed so much
Mm.
that it wasn't, I realized at that point, so that was a number of years ago, I realized at that point, everything I've been through, everyone goes through every single day. They don't need a
Yes.
brain injury to go through what I've gone through. Mine just happened big and all at once, right?
Yeah.
It was like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
But every single mother around me was going through the same
Absolutely. I'm
without
totally
even knowing
relating
it.
to it. Like we gave up karate, we gave up football, we're doing basketball, we're doing soccer, and the kids not cute anymore. They become men and they're smelly.
Yeah, it all just changes, and we miss that, but we also have these expectations, like we did of Toby and the others, expectations when they're little. Oh, when they're interested, they're probably going to grow up there and be a scientist because they're really interested in it. We make these statements and these labels, and
Yes.
sometimes when they show interest in them, we then start to get so invested in those ideas that we lose track of the fact that that was just a fun idea at the time for them, for us, for whatever. You
Mhm.
can't predict that. And even if it was possible, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. There's so many things are possible. Your kid could be a doctor, a scientist, a lawyer, a clown. There could be all sorts of things in the
Mm.
world, not just one thing. But
Yeah.
we can get so invested in this picture that we've got that we then
Yes.
put pressures on them and we again don't connect with them for what they're going through in life right now.
Hmm.
And it just changed everything. So I guess I now work with people. So I've been through that journey myself.
Mm.
I was in that journey, as I said, back up a little. I was not even realizing because I was on that treadmill
Mm.
and people were like, oh my God, you're amazing. Yeah, how are you doing this? I don't know how you cope. Oh my gosh, you've been so good. Like, and then I look back and yeah, sure I was. But inside I was so falling apart.
Mm.
And my nervous system was just, I mean, I don't think I have. I could say I think I only used one side of my nervous system. Let's say that. I don't think I got into my sympathetic, my parasympathetic very
Yes.
often,
I was just
right?
thinking of that.
Not very
Yeah.
often at all. As I said, I stepped out, and because of what we've been through, and Toby had landed on concrete, and because of that, I developed a fear. Now, I had a few fears because our other kids then went on to have other things go on as a
Yeah.
result of this mental health and like suicide attempts and all sorts of stuff that I had to deal with. So I had
Wow.
fears galore, right? Everything that happened, telephones that would buzz, everything was like, what now? What now? What now?
Mm,
And so I've lived that fear.
mhm.
And I stepped out. One of my biggest fears was concrete.
Of
Try and
course.
exist in the world. Try and exist in the world. And I'm talking about a severe fear, not just oh, I don't like concrete. I'm talking about walking down the footpath caused me anxiety. Try and live in the world with there's concrete everywhere.
Of course. Yeah.
And everywhere I went. And I was constantly saying to myself, Philippa is just a footpath. Philippa is just a little kid. If I saw a little child walking towards me and they went to trip a little bit, just walking, my heart would leap, right?
Yeah.
So I had to go through a process of completely learning to regulate my body, putting
Yes.
everything into perspective, and actually go through understanding what beliefs had got me to this point, that they weren't true, and reconnect with who I am in my heart,
Mhm.
who I am as a mother,
Mm,
not in my mind and not in other people's expectations or what I think people expect. But the day I gave birth, what was it in my heart that I felt about being a mother, not doing it, not whether ticking the boxes, how I did it, or whether I was doing it right or wrong,
mhm.
but who am I in my heart as a mother? And I had to reconnect with that. And
Mm,
once you reconnect with that, you can reconnect with your awe in your child, no matter what they're going through.
mm,
And then combine that with good health, as you know, good lifestyle, good diet, and a good nervous system,
mhm.
then you can manage all these things.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. So, so you help mums, coaching them through the kids when the kids are going through the teenage years.
Yeah. I've got a
And
passion for those years because I think they're the years leading into those years where most people start to feel it's all falling apart.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So let's say I am going through a terrible time. My 13-year-old just doesn't want to talk to me, and he's swearing at me, and we're having a terrible relationship, which was like that a couple of weeks ago, but it's a little bit better today, the last few days. So what would you say, how can I manage these years? It seems so hard, and how it's never ending. It seems like he doesn't want to listen, and I'm not connecting. How can I manage this?
It's definitely easier said than done. Yeah. So I'm not going to pretend that this was like a walk in the park, right?
Hmm.
I'm not going to be so demeaning to mothers to say, oh my gosh, why can't you all do it? It's so simple. Well,
Mm.
actually, it is so simple. So simple is in the concept, nothing that I go through with people is earth-shattering, right? But it's very difficult, and it's very difficult to do on your own because it's a lonely path when you're
Mm.
feeling that.
Hmm.
So a few things that I would work through with people, right?
Hmm.
There's a number of things, as I touched on some of them, all sorts of areas of the health.
Yeah.
Take them through a process that I call the pillars if you think of the acronym of HEART, right? So
Hmm.
one of them is health, just general health, mind, body. You have to be healthy, right? And I don't mean you have to be in perfect health, but I do get people to look at their health. So it'll be easy for me to turn around and give you a tip. And the internet is full of tips. Do
Yeah.
this with your teenagers, do that with your teenagers, take their phones from them or limit their usage or whatever. I think it's a little bit futile to just throw out more tips. Honestly, people can Google tips and they get tips. The issue is there are so many things stopping us even being able to act on those tips, right?
Mm.
So I could give you the great tip, but I mean, you look after your health, and that's obviously what a big part of like prescribing lifestyle
Yes,
is all
absolutely.
about.
Yes.
But a lot of people, when you're going through all this, we stop looking after our health. So
Yes.
the first part of that acronym is H, health.
Okay.
If you're not, if your mind and body are not healthy, it's very, very difficult to deal with these situations calmly and practically. Let's face
Absolutely.
it. I
Yep.
could turn around and say, go and take, and I would say, take a deep breath, don't respond. There's lots of things, tips like that I could give for sure. But if you're not in a place where you're healthy enough and regulated to do that, then these are just futile tips that just make people feel like more of a failure, honestly.
Absolutely. I think this is a good point to make because the mums just look after their kids and the family and work, and they don't look into their own health first. But you putting it first point for the mums to look after their health, that is amazing. That is great.
Yeah, it's absolutely key. It's absolutely key. So we all needed psychologists, our family, after Toby's accident.
Okay.
There was one kid that really very quickly showed signs that they needed it more. Right now, I
Mm.
have people saying, I hope you're all getting therapy. Oh, yeah, we were living in Singapore. Yeah, we're all getting therapy. There's 6 of us, and it's about $300 an hour. So you do the math. No, we're not all getting therapy. $1,800 a week for 1 hour each. So
Yeah.
anyway, after that one, eventually, and I was looking for them, we came into COVID times. I got my help first. So I
Hmm.
got the one that was obviously out there needing it.
Hmm.
But there were some serious issues that definitely needed some help. But I then worked on me. And the
Mm.
others needed it too, but I knew I couldn't support them even through their recovery journey if I wasn't okay myself.
Yeah.
So that was really key. And it made all the difference, right? Because you have to be, even if you get help for your kids and even if you do good things with your kids and you're getting them therapy and all of this, you still need to be in the space to be what they need as they're going through their recovery or mental health process,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
Or you just throw more fuel on the fire.
That's right. If you don't look
Yeah,
after yourself, then you can't manage your own emotions. You'll be depressed and you'll
absolutely.
be
And
tired, bloated, all those things.
so funny you should say that second when you said can't look after your emotions. The E in the acronym of HEART is
Okay.
emotional IQ.
Okay, great.
So emotional IQ is where we explore all the emotions of motherhood:
Hmm.
fear, anger, frustration, anxiety, disappointment,
Mm.
sad, all of these things,
Hmm.
sadness, worry,
Mm.
right? So these all come up in us, in our bodies, and people try and fix them with their minds,
Mm.
right? So you often say, I mean, I think most people have been in a situation where they can relate to this, where you'll be fussing around and someone saying, look, don't worry, or just calm down. I am calm. What's the first, how many times? Everyone can relate to that, right? Or
Yes.
I'm not worried, right? Someone says something and your immediate defensive response is, I'm not worried. And then
Yes.
if you start to talk to these people in their
Mm.
head, they'll come and go, I know that, I've dealt with that, I get that. I'm not, no, I'm not worried about that. And mentally, they may think they've dealt with it, but they haven't dealt with the memory of the lifelong memory of these emotions in their body.
Okay. Yep.
And that's really, really important because the emotions in our body are there and signal our, our response, right?
Yep.
But we actually have to care for our body and our nervous system to connect and clear from our body. So if we leave it
Okay.
in our body, then our brain keeps responding to the feelings in our body. And we then keep saying, I've got this feeling, I've got a gut feeling. It's like, oh,
Mm.
you've just constantly got this worry going on in that same spot and you've never ever cleared it. Right.
Mm.
And then we think, but I know because it's there. There's something there. So
Mm.
you have to understand how your the brain gut connection.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So
And that's
understand the
something that people can
emotions.
only do for themselves and explore for
Mm.
themselves.
Hmm.
And I'm sure you've got some stories of your own to share with brain
Yeah,
gut connection and nervous system
absolutely.
health, right?
Yes, that's right.
So that's the E. And
Mm-hmm.
then the A
Mm-hmm.
is awareness or conscious of our consciousness.
Mm.
So you could call that being in the moment, understanding why we're doing what we're doing, understanding why we're reacting like we're reacting, what's really going on in our subconscious to make us be responding and behaving in the moment like we are now.
Mm.
Awareness. So you can imagine this is quite a hybrid that I work with people. There's a
Okay.
combination of education and coaching
Yep.
and hands-on practice,
Okay.
like a health practice.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's quite a combination. So that's the A, this
Okay.
consciousness, the awareness of our consciousness and our subconscious,
Yep.
and how that's really feeding into our behaviors, our own behaviors, and
Mm.
as a mother. And then the R is rewire.
Mm.
So once we're starting to become aware of all these things, then we can also become aware of our limiting beliefs and the beliefs around ourselves as a mother. Where did
Mm.
they come from? Why do we even have these expectations of ourselves on a mother? It's really
Mm.
interesting. And how do we rewire that so that it's healthy and really is accurate to who we at our core believe we are as a mother, not who
Mm.
we believe we're meant to be.
Mm.
And that's really, really, really important. And it's interesting because I'll ask every mother I work with, I'll ask them a variety of questions, of course. And one of the questions that I'll ask, because it comes up all the time, I think every single mother at some point that I've worked with has said the words to me, I feel like I'm failing them, or I feel
Yeah.
like I'm failing. Like,
Mm.
failing at what? And I'm like, so, okay, or I feel like a good mum would do this. I'm like, tell me about that then.
Mhm.
How would you describe a good mum? What's a good mum to you? And I ask every one of that, I'd like to know what you describe as a good mum. Well, what do you think a bad mum is? Because you're describing yourself as being a bad mum, and you've got this picture of being a good mum. And so they have these ideas. Everyone has an idea. They're not all the same.
Of
But it's
course.
interesting. One of the ones that comes up as a good mum
Mm.
nearly every time is really interesting. And that is a good mum would be providing a home cooked meal at home every night. And I'm like, wow. So every night? So how often could they not do that to still be classed as a good mum? Right. So we start to unpick all these things and these stories that we're telling ourselves in there. I'm
Yeah.
like, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of good mums out there that aren't providing
I
home
don't
cooked meals
provide
every night for
home
their
cooked
kids.
every
But
night.
where did that belief come from? What are you feeding them healthy food? Okay, so what about if you did that? So if I fed them McDonald's today, does that make me a bad mum? Well, no, you can do it every night. So what percentage is okay then, right? We start to just basically say, get people being a bit more kind and resilient to the idea that maybe we're created this idea of what we should look at.
Yes.
So rewire. We've got to
Okay.
rewire our
Yep.
thoughts.
Okay,
And then the
great.
last one is T for heart, and it's transform. So
Okay.
transform is really interesting. I use transform because it fits in with T,
Yep.
but it's sort of like a navigation system for how to
Okay.
move forward. So once you actually seriously do all of this work,
Mm.
you actually change and grow as a human, right? You're going to grow forever. And you're no longer really happy being where you were because you
Mm.
feel better, you have a better relationship, lots of things are better in your life. But I
Mm-hmm.
tell you what really changes too, when you're completely different and you're showing up and you're responding and you're reacting different, the people around you really don't know what to expect anymore.
Mm.
It takes time. So I had for a few years that I was describing to you, those years
Mm.
that I was really not functioning very well at all.
Mm. Mm.
Everyone around me thought I was functioning, but everything
Mm.
inside was not good,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And I would snap at this, the slightest thing, and I'd be perfectly fine, and then something would happen, and I just like a switch, and then just snap, and
Mm.
everything would annoy me, and I'd feel irritated, and I would suddenly react to a kid. I said, pick that up. Go to your room. Now look at that. And why didn't you? And then it would just suddenly overcome like this monster coming into me that suddenly dictated a change, right? So that you've got to realize that you're not the only person that's been through this journey of you being dysregulated.
Yeah.
So have all your family around you. So it takes time. And so once you transform, then it's really important to understand how to integrate that and how to communicate that and how to be patient for the people to realize, no, this is the new me. And sometimes it actually takes you being honest and courageous to stand up for yourself and to just put it out there and go, I understand that's how I would have responded before. You don't have to protect me like that, right? And particularly with husbands, because they've sort of been not knowing what to expect from us either, right?
Yeah.
And then suddenly, I know, for example, something would go wrong that would have something. Well, we say go wrong. Something would happen that would have thrown me in the past. Now I'm pretty hard to throw, right?
Yeah.
And I enjoy my nearly every day. Like seriously, like it's the best thing in the world. And yet it's not because we don't have problems in my life, trust me, because they just keep on going and going and going. But something would happen and then he would step in and sort of try and fix something or do something or take over. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I know you don't like it. I know you like it to be like this. I'm like, babe, I'm okay. It doesn't have to be exactly like that anymore, right? And I just realized, he still doesn't trust that I actually can cope now. So it was up to me to turn around and go, I realized that's how I was in the past. And I know that that was hard for you to sort of not know, and you had to pick up those pieces, or you didn't know how to speak to me in case I got annoyed at you. But it's not me anymore, and I'm not going back. Like it's safe. I can do this myself. I don't need you to try and navigate a way to sort of take that away from me. And your kids will be doing that too, because they were all walking around sort of thinking, oh, there's mum again. Mum's just gone off in a crazy self. Just don't bother her for this long. I mean, so integrating and having a navigation path moving forward, and also knowing, okay, you also have slipbacks. You'll have like setbacks.
Yeah.
And knowing that's not you being who you were before. That is normal. It is normal to have days where you suddenly think, oh, I just feel lethargic and I don't feel energetic and I feel a little bit worried. I feel worried about this kid now. It's really important to have a map of when this happens, to think like a little toolbox of your own created thoughts. I can't create them for someone, but how you've changed, and remind yourself, no, this is because of this, not because I've got a reason to worry. So you need to have a little toolbox of yours that you can call on, so that when you have that moment where you're worrying and you feel it in that same place, you don't have to think everything's going to fall apart like you used to think.
So
you actually
for
can
example,
calm yourself in a different way.
What sort of things in the toolbox, for example, like
breathwork, you're
slow
talking
down breathing, mindfulness, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Mindfulness, just if you've gone through and really learnt about your belief system in that rewire section, and you really know, you can actually go back and think, no, this is just because of in the past, this happened. There's no evidence to suggest that's happening right now.
Yeah.
And also reminding yourself of all the stuff that you've learned through that process, of reminding yourself, what sort of a mother am I? So you can ask yourself a list of questions to remind yourself, that's not who I am anymore. That's not who I am as a mother. And I'm allowed to have an off day, but I don't have to feel like, oh, does that mean that I'm going backwards? No, it's not, right? So positive self-talk, but yes, mindfulness, breathing. These are all parts of a daily practice for me now. And I say that as a daily practice because I don't like to be one of these people that pretends that I'm out here doing all this perfectly, because I'm not. It's part of a daily practice in my ideal.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that mean that that, like that 80% of the cooking the meals thing, does that mean that I'm doing it 100% of the days? I'd like to say yes, but I'm not, right? But the difference is now that if I miss a day or two, or maybe three, or we go away and I get out of habit and I go for a week, I start to notice a change. Once you're actually doing something quite well for yourself, you would know this as well. You notice a change. Like with, I think you do running and
I
go
do
running.
running, yes.
If you didn't run for 2 or 3 days, your body would not feel the same. You think, I want to go run. So
Absolutely.
that same thing happens. So it's not about perfection, but you do create. So that toolkit's going to be different for everyone. For
Yeah.
me, one of my daily and my biggest real quick nervous system regulator is humming.
Okay.
Okay. So it's humming, chanting. You can call it chanting. I don't chant, I don't think, but I don't know what the definition of the difference between chanting and humming is, to be
I
quite
think it's the
honest.
same
But I
thing.
hum. And I literally connect with, and I have humming training that I can do for people. You don't have to do it, but I literally connect with wherever my body is feeling that anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I will use sounds that will send the vibrations to that part of my body
Amazing.
and feel it go away. And then once I know that go away, I know that that's all it was. It was just
Mm.
something in my nervous system. So that is, I like to think of that as, you know how you go if you've got overworked muscles. So if you were running and you ran 3 times longer than you normally do, you're probably going to end up with sore muscles somewhere.
Yes, absolutely.
And what do you do for sore muscles? You go to and you get a massage,
Yeah.
right? You can. It's one of the things you can do. Go get a massage. How do you massage your nervous system? With sound.
Yeah.
So when we stay in the sympathetic nervous system, and when we're stressed for too long,
Yeah.
just we're overworking our nervous system. So if you can imagine, like in your muscles where you get knots, and when people talk around and say you've got an energy block, I used to always think, what do they actually mean by that? An energy block? Like, what is it? It's not like there's some block in, like, what do they really mean? Like, clear the energy blocks. The way I like to describe that is that similar to that knot. So somewhere down that nervous system, it's been overused and overused. It's tied and it's
Yes.
knotted up, and it's literally knotted up, and you can't get any vibrations past it.
Yes.
So then you end up with this feeling of this knot in your stomach. It's like a knot
Yes.
in your muscle, but in your stomach or in your chest or in your anywhere else that you're feeling it, your neck, your throat. So it's literally like a physical knot that needs to be smoothed out. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
only way you can do that is with vibrations.
Amazing. That's it. Yes, I do breath work as well. So I teach breath work and I'm a breath work facilitator. I think the breath work and the humming are exactly the same thing to calm down the nervous system and improve parasympathetic nervous system drive. So absolutely agree with you. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Could talk about breathing for hours.
Yeah, yeah. So you have taught us how to manage teenagers without really t teaching us how to manage teenagers. We're not managing teenagers, we're managing ourselves.
Absolutely. Look, there are so many things that you can do with teenagers. As I said, the idea of me putting myself in someone else's situation and blindly giving tips, I think it's being done too often. I think
Hmm.
it's getting done too much, and it's actually, it might help. As I said, if you want tips, go online,
Yeah.
Google tips for it. It's there. But if you really want something that works for you, it has to work for you. These tips don't work just blindly for everyone. You can't pretend that you actually are in someone else's shoes. We don't know what's happened with their relationships. We don't know what has happened trauma-wise. We don't know what's happened with any of that situation to even imagine that I could just give you a futile tip and pretend that I was some expert in your situation.
Mm.
And I don't believe there's a right and a wrong in nearly everything that we're doing with our children, right?
Mm.
You'll get that all the time. You'll get mothers that breastfeed, don't breastfeed.
Yes.
Right, wrong. You'll get people that go, oh my gosh, this problem, that problem. Seriously, people have grown up with both of them. Could one, of course, I think one has a better health than the other it is all working as it should work. Doesn't always work like that. To keep trying to do that, if your body's not working properly, may actually deplete the child of some things. So I don't think there's a right and wrong. Sleep with your baby, don't sleep with your baby. Then you get to the toddlers, let them cry it out, don't let them cry it out. Put them in a naughty corner, don't put them in a naughty corner. Then you get to the teenagers, take the phones off them, let them socialize with their kids. Look, tips, the biggest tip that I could possibly give is really think about why things are and aren't comfortable to you, because quite often we're actually following what we believe we're supposed to do with our kids, and it doesn't feel right to us, but we do it anyway.
Yeah.
So and that's the same thing of the worries and the fears, and mine was concrete, right? But it might be with someone, I fear my kid not getting the top grades in the class because he's going to be a failure if he doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Get in touch with that. That's about you. It's not about him, that's for sure. But whether or not people are doing right or wrong, who knows? To a degree. We're all going out with good intent, right?
Yeah.
But I do know that if you take care of all those things, then you're in a position to actually calmly be there and actually be in control of the fact that this is right for us. And maybe it's not, but if it doesn't work, then I'll try something else and not feel like a failure because of it. Because I tell you, I did all the things that everyone thought was the perfect mum. We had the kids that were well behaved. We had the kids that everyone looked at. They were all really smart. They all got great grades. They were socially wonderful. They were always laughing and smiling in the backyard. We had a phenomenal life, right? Doesn't stop things from falling apart just because you ticked all the boxes and you did it all really well. And it doesn't make you a bad mum when you tick all those boxes and things fall apart. So it's interesting. I think it's really easy for people to feel like they're doing a good job when everything's going fine. But what's really important is how you talk to yourself and how you feel about yourself and your family around you when things aren't going fine.
Amazing, amazing. Tell us about the book that you're writing. You're writing a book.
I am writing a book. It's called Good Mums Lose Kids. And it's based on what we've gone through, on what I realized it was originally going to be called When Death Didn't Happen. And it was the story of what happened instead of death, right? So he didn't die, but what did that look like as a mother? What did I go through in my journey?
So that's more a memoir about you.
Exactly. And it never came out because I never got to the point where I'm like, I don't really feel a need just to share my story for no reason. It's like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And of course I'm doing it to connect other people and to help them benefit from what I've learned in this process and from what I do in my work. So it speaks more to them. So Good Mums Lose Kids is the metaphor there is really relating it to the fact that a good mum will be willing to lose the kid of yesterday every single day to meet the kid of today, right? And easier said than done. And doesn't mean you're a bad mum, again, if you don't manage to do that all the time. But that idea of what a good mum is, if we're going to go out there, rather than have any definition of a good mum does this, the good mum does that, let's just say a good mum looks at their kid and accepts them.
Yes. I love it. I'm still
Yeah.
looking at my kid and I'm thinking, and I was embracing those toddler years and I still want them to be little and cuddly, and I'm losing those little kids.
It's really hard. It's really hard because we do have those memories, but and when you're going through it, people will say to you all the time, enjoy this because it won't last forever. And people say these things and it's wise and it's true. I don't necessarily think anyone really gets that really when we're going through a lot in life, right? But what I like people to do is to connect, and I do a visualization depending on the person, but I've done a number of visualizations with people where they sit down, and once you've done your body scans and stuff, they'll sit there and visualize holding either their baby or their toddler. And I remember a time where they're really close and this little toddler, and you'll see their expressions and what would they smell like and what did they say and what did their little expression look like when they was come running up to you because they'd found a precious stone or something. And to connect with that awe that you had for them.
Yeah.
And then look at them now. They're the same person that's just grown and been through this. I'll get teary again myself, right? They're the same person, and we can have that same awe for them now. It's just really hard. But remember, they chucked the tantrums, they threw food in the places, they did all that when they were little, but we felt like it was cuter, it was less worrying, it was less important. All these things just felt like it wasn't as scary.
Yeah.
Now when they're doing all these things, we feel like we're in our last years with them, and then, God, are they even going to be ready when they leave? What's going to happen to them? How are they going to look after each other, after themselves? Are they going to get a job? Are they going to survive at the work these days? Like they can't even get out of bed. You know, they're grumpy. Are they going to be rude to everyone and get fired? Like all these things and these worries feel so big.
Yes.
But if we just focus on now and know that we actually can't, they will fall down.
Yeah.
If we can actually regulate ourselves, we can be for them, and we don't worry about them falling down. And when they do fall down, we'll know that just like you're fallen down and I've fallen down, they will grow from it. And it may not look always great. I mean, I've just described in this chat, right, a couple of things that happened to us that were phenomenally horrible. You would never wish that.
Of course.
You would never wish that to happen.
Yeah.
Of course I would never wish that to happen. But it did. And it means that what did look like no longer looks like that anymore, right? But then you get to the point where you're like, but it doesn't matter what he looks like or what his future looks like. Look at him right now, right? How can I connect? And it's no different to, did I love playing dinosaurs? No, I wasn't the slightest bit in playing dinosaurs, to be quite honest, or driving little cars around, but I did it, right? And as teenagers, we're not necessarily interested in what they do, but we can do it.
Like teaching driving, that's what I'm doing.
Yes. Oh, that's fun, isn't it? That's a new kind of scary.
It's a bit better now. He's about 60 hours in, so yeah.
That's a scary one.
Yeah.
I don't love the teaching kids to drive. I can't say I love the feeling of being in the car that's being controlled by someone who can't drive.
But no, I can totally relate to you. That's great examples.
Yeah, look, examples galore. And it's like, it takes practice. These aren't things that you can just throw out and then do. It really is a practice. We seem to think that you should know how to be a mother. Why? You didn't know how to be a doctor, right? You went and trained.
Yeah.
I've trained to do this.
Yeah.
As well as life experience, but I didn't just wing it, right?
Yeah.
I've got a number of trainings in all sorts of things, in health and wellness coaching itself, and in neuroscience and neuroplasticity, and done all sorts of training and courses in these areas to know what I'm doing. And so parenting is no different. But we seem to think that we also seem to get connected with how we've done it in the past, or how we believed it needed to be, and think we can't change things because it will almost make us not look credible, or it's like nearly like this stubbornness to back down. But the fact is, if you did something that maybe wasn't great, then why stand by it?
That's right. Move on.
Yeah,
Try
move on,
else.
but also own it.
Yeah.
And I do. If there's a tip, I guess, own it. Our kids aren't stupid. Like, and certainly when they weren't stupid when they were little watching us then. They're watching us now. Like, they were learning to play. They learned how to cook by watching us in the kitchen, right? They had their play kitchens and they did little play kitchens. What do you think they're doing now? They're watching us how to be an adult. So if we've become stressed and fearful is that what we want them to learn as to how to be an adult, stressed and
Mm,
fearful?
mhm.
No, we don't want it for our kids yet. That's exactly what we're showing them how to be.
Yeah.
So we have to take it on, and we have to make that decision to think, maybe I actually could do this better.
Mhm.
Maybe I could do this in a better way. And not, once they get to those teenage years, just own it. Let
Mhm.
them know. I've had my kids all, like, one of them go, oh my gosh, because I've got 10 years, 10 and a half years
Mm.
spending from 1 to 4, right?
Yep. Mhm.
And I've grown, particularly in this journey of growth in the last 8, 9 years, but sort of I've
Mm.
grown a lot, right?
Mm.
I hope we've grown. I mean, who wants to be the same as what they were when they first were a
Exactly.
mother? I mean, I've been a
Of
mother for
course.
25 years. I hope I've changed and I'm not a 25, like a 25-year-old anymore, right? I'm not a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
And so I'll have a kid turn around and go, oh my gosh, mum, you never let me do that. When they see me not, like, let one of their younger siblings do something, go, what?
Oh,
Why did
okay.
you do that? I was never allowed to do that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I've probably, if I was to go back and do it again, I probably would let you too. But I was fearful then, and I'm not fearful now. I'm embracing it. And I get that this is a normal thing to allow her to do. Do you want me to give her the old version of me? I'll say it to the kids. Do you think I should give her the old version or show up as the better version? You get the better version of me now. You just didn't quite get it as soon, right?
That's very
So
good
you have to
explanation.
own it. Don't pretend
Yes.
like you knew what you were doing. And
Yes.
that's even now when something, if they, like, it's not about giving in to your kids either, though.
Mhm.
But if you actually think, yeah, that, I don't even know why I did that, just own it. I don't know
Mhm.
why I did that. I'm not sure I even really agree with that myself.
Mhm. Mhm.
They're becoming adults, right? It's not about giving in to them. They are becoming adults. So it's not going to happen. You don't wait till they're 18 and then suddenly say, okay, we've got a different relationship with you now. You're an adult. I'm going to be having an adult relationship with you now, right? It's a process.
Mm. Mhm.
Yeah. It's a very, very weird dance.
Yeah, amazing. I love all this conversation, but it's we can go on forever. But
Yeah.
it's almost an hour, so I was gonna wind up and ask you, would you take anyone for coaching, and how can my listeners find you?
Look, absolutely. They can find me if they just look up on social media, Philippa Gleeson Payne. I'm the
Okay.
only one out there. The company itself is called After Change, but you're probably going to find me by my name
Okay. I'll
more
put
quickly
the
because I promote me more than a word.
Sure, I'll put the link into the show notes
Yeah,
and my listeners can connect with you.
fantastic.
Awesome.
And
All
thank
right.
you for
Well,
having me. I have had a lot of fun and I love sharing this. This is what I love doing.
fantastic. Thank you so much, Philippa, for your time and showing us all your great tips.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, all the listeners, for paying attention and staying tuned. And until next time, we'll bring to you another amazing guest.